Welcome back, guys. So this is my garage floor, and I'm just on a box, just a little table, so I can show you this one. So this is a fuel pump assembly from a Ducati Monster. I think it's got a Ducati logo on the bottom. So I went to have a look at this bike a few days ago. The customer had already removed the pump, and his suspicions were the fuel pump was faulty. So this was already off the bike, and I took the old motor out, hooked it up to a battery, and it was fine. It was running, sounded okay. So reconnected it, put it back on the bike, and put it back in the tank, filled it with petrol, and before I did that, I checked for power at the connector, on the bike. When you turn the key on, that was all good. And then, it wouldn't fire the pump. So I checked again. We've got power here on the connector. Checked the back of it just to make sure there wasn't any sort of bad connection in there. So I was getting 12 volts there. It wasn't reaching the pump for some reason. So drained the tank, got the pump out again, and then I checked. So on these, where is it? So the pump here, the connector, that's what the connector would look like, and there would be two wires, a red and a black, that come out, and then they join on to these wires. So as you can see, I've already cut them, because at the time I thought, well, there's got to be a broken wire from here to the connector. So it was just trying to trace down where this break was. So it goes into the pump body here through this sort of like epoxy, and I tested from here to here, because the wires actually exposed a bit. So I tested from here to here, fine. From here to here, nothing. And if you move it around, you can sort of see the meter flickering, resistance. So I'll just show you on camera. So if I put the meter on continuity check, so you've got the red wire to the red wire, so we're getting 1 ohms, something like that. Well, you can see it's moving around 10 ohms. It was actually worse the other day. So essentially we've got a broken wire here. I'll just turn that off a second, and we'll just do it again on resistance. So the other day we couldn't get the power to the pump, it just wasn't getting there. So at the moment you can see I move that wire around there, there's a break there. So if I move it in a particular position, when I was testing it, it was in the mega ohm range, and now it seems to have fixed itself. So maybe there's some sort of breakdown of the wire. Not sure really. So I didn't want to pull this wire out, because we'd end up with a petrol leak here. So the black wire, I don't know if I test it. I'll do a test on the black wire to see what this one looks like, but we need both the wires to work, obviously. So I'm just touching the end of the wire there. So that one's actually perfect. So try and move it. Yeah, that one looks a lot better than the red one. So I feel that this wire, and the customer, he saw it with me, so he could see that we plugged it in and the power just wasn't getting to the pump. We know the pump is good, it's just not getting the power. So the choices are replace the whole thing. Now in the UK this is going to cost you about £1,000 from most Ducati dealers. You can't find many. Did I mention it's a Ducati Monster? So it's a 2006 bike, so there's not many of these pumps for sale for some reason. So how are we going to get out of this situation? Right, well, I didn't want to drill and open up this part here because we've got the fuel warning light here, so I didn't want to mess with that. And I know that the fuel warning light, it's not the most important thing in the world, but I'd rather keep that wiring intact, and I think the wiring's actually okay, because anyway, it's not the most important thing. But the plan is, I'm gonna, do you see these little spigots, I think they're called? These are blocked, so stick something down it, it doesn't go down it, so that's probably too thick to show you, but so a bit of wire, for example, it's blocked, as you can see. So obviously there's nothing on the other side, and there's the same sort of spigot, if you like. I guess these were used for sort of tank breathers and things like that at one point. So my plan is, I'm gonna, and I've said this to the customer who could try this, we're going to drill this open, and there'll be enough room in there to get, you know, a couple of 10 amp wires or something like that. So a couple of 2.5 millimeter squared wires will be able to go in there, and then to seal it, so I've bought a bunch of stuff, but I bought like various epoxies. So I think we all know this company, so this one was the first thing that I picked up. I've got another one as well somewhere. Anyway, and then I saw a video using this stuff. So this is called Tankweld by JB Weld as well, and on the, because there's not many products out there that advertise that they're fuel safe, fuel resistant. So this one is actually saying fuel resistant, and right here it says that it'll repair cracks and holes up to 1/4 inch diameter, so that's about 6 mil. So the hole that we've got there to deal with, what can I use as a 6 mil tester? I suppose an M6 bolt would do, wouldn't it? So 6 mil is about 1/4 inch is about 6 mil. So if we drill that with a 6 mil drill, and I'm hoping to keep this body, if you like. So if we drill that out with a 5.5 mil drill, and then use this chemical, I don't know what it's like because it might be quite thick, so I'm hoping that it's gonna be able to be poured in there or pushed in there with the wires, and then you just leave it to cure. I think it takes 4 hours. So we're going to give that a go. Okay, so I've put some epoxy in there. I drilled out the hole to, I think it was about 5 mil, and used like a piece of welding wire to push that epoxy in. However, I'll just go through the instructions for this product. So you get 2 colours, so it's white and black, and then you combine them in the packet. So you squidge them together and then you mix that, and it took ages to mix, and at the very end, when it had gone to this grey colour, it started to get really warm. So I you cut a little hole and then you squeeze it out, and at first it's quite runny, and then as it cures more, it just gets really sticky and really thick. So I managed to get a fair bit in there, but I don't think I got all the way to the other end. I think I probably only got halfway. So I started putting it on the other side as well, and as you can see, it's just like a real mess. Basically, I was just trying to poke it into the hole, try and get it in as best I could, and the stuff that was on the end of the welding wire got really thick, and it just started pulling it back out. So you'd push it in and then it'd pull it back out because it got really sticky. So it's a one-time use only product, this, unfortunately. I mean, you could, in theory, cut it in half and then just, you know, get it out and mix it. I think you could do that. I think you could just take out the right amount and then mix it separately. But Whether it would last any length of time, I don't know. So at the moment it's pretty much cured, or it's starting to cure in the packet, so I can't get any more out, it's gone solid. So got to let that dry, cure I mean, got to let that cure for about 4 hours it says. So